students, feeling a pang of guilt for inadvertently frightening them. He took another deep breath to steady himself, determined to make a better impression. Earth is home to a vast array of life forms, including us humans, who have adapted to survive in its often harsh conditions. Our planet's high gravity, extreme weather, and diverse ecosystems have shaped us into resilient beings. We value curiosity, innovation, and community, which is why I'm here today to share our experiences and learn from yours. He glanced around the room, noticing that some students were starting to relax, while others were still wary. As I mentioned, humans are highly social creatures. We thrive on interactions and building relationships. That's why I hope to make friends here and learn as much as I can about your cultures and technologies. Marcus continued, describing Earth's various biomes and the incredible adaptability of its inhabitants. He spoke about the Amazon rainforest's rich biodiversity, the vast and unforgiving Sahara Desert, the serene plains, and the majestic mountain ranges. Despite our planet's challenges, it is also a place of breathtaking beauty and wonder. The oceans, which cover about 70% of Earth's surface, are teeming with life and are crucial to our planet's climate and ecosystems. He noticed that his audience was becoming more engaged, their expressions shifting from apprehension to interest. Encouraged, he decided to address their concerns directly. I understand that some of you may find our appearance or certain behaviors unsettling. Please know that we mean no harm. Our smiles, for instance, are a sign of friendliness and warmth. We come in peace and are eager to share knowledge and collaborate. Marcus wrapped up his speech with a hopeful note. I'm excited to be here and look forward to learning from each of you. Together, we can achieve great things and create a brighter future for all our worlds. With that, he stepped back from the podium, relieved that his presentation was over. The room was silent for a moment, then a few students began to clap. Slowly, more joined in, and soon the applause filled the hall. Marcus smiled again, this time more cautiously, and nodded in gratitude. As he left the stage, the principal approached him. Well done, Marcus. I think you've made quite an impression. Marcus nodded, feeling a mixture of relief and pride. Thank you. I just hope I didn't scare too many of them. The principal chuckled. First impressions can be tricky, but I believe they'll come around. You did well. Marcus glanced back at the students, many of whom were now chatting animatedly. He knew it would take time to build trust and friendships, but this was a good start. As he walked away from the podium, he felt a renewed sense of purpose and optimism for the journey ahead. With a wide range of environments and creatures, smiling is just one of the ways we express ourselves. I didn't mean to cause any distress, and I apologize for any discomfort my actions may have caused. He took a deep breath and continued. Earth is not just a death world as it might be classified. It's a place where life thrives in incredible ways, from the deepest oceans to the highest mountains. We've faced many challenges, but they've made us resilient and adaptable. Our history is full of conflicts and hardships, but it's also filled with innovation, compassion, and cooperation. Marcus noticed that some of the students who had fainted were being attended to by their classmates and medical personnel. He felt a pang of relief knowing they were getting the help they needed. Humans have a strong sense of community, he said, trying to steer the conversation back to a positive note. We form deep bonds with those we consider friends, and we value learning from others. That's why I'm here today to learn from you and to share what I can about my world. The room seemed to be calming down, the initial shock wearing off. Some students were now looking at him with curiosity rather than fear. Marcus decided to share more about Earth's wonders, hoping to keep their interest. Let me tell you about some of the amazing places on Earth. We have the Great Barrier Reef in the ocean, a massive coral system teeming with life. In our forests, you can find towering trees like the redwoods that have stood for thousands of years. Our cities are full of diverse cultures and histories, with people from all over the world living and working together. He glanced at the faces in the audience, seeing that many were now more engaged. And while we have faced many dangers and difficulties, it has taught us to be innovative and resourceful. We've developed technologies to explore the stars and to connect with each other across vast distances. We hope to share these advancements with the galaxy to contribute to a future where all species can thrive together. Marcus paused, then added, I know first impressions can be difficult, and I appreciate your patience and willingness to listen. I'm excited to learn more about your cultures and technologies and to build friendships that will help us all grow. With that, he stepped back from the podium, feeling a mix of relief and anticipation. The silence in the room was replaced by a buzz of conversation, and Marcus hoped that despite the rocky start, he had managed to bridge the gap between himself and his new classmates. "Then sorry, right?" Marcus added with a chuckle, careful not to show his teeth this time. He could see a mix of fascination and weariness in their eyes. "Do you have any other questions?" Marcus asked, trying to keep the momentum going. A small, luminescent being with delicate wings raised a hand. "What do you miss most about Earth?" Marcus smiled thoughtfully. "I miss the sunsets. Each one is different, with colors that stretch across the sky in ways that are hard to describe. I also miss the sound of rain on a quiet night and the smell of fresh grass after a storm." A tall, elegant creature with silver skin and flowing hair then asked, "What do you hope to achieve here?" "I hope to build bridges between our species," Marcus replied earnestly, "to learn from each other and to share our knowledge and cultures. The galaxy is vast, and there's so much we can accomplish together if we understand and respect one another." The questions kept coming, and Marcus did his best to answer them all. He spoke about human history, technology, and culture, making sure to keep his explanations simple and engaging. He described famous landmarks like the Great Wall of China and the Pyramids of Giza, and talked about human achievements in space exploration. As the session drew to a close, Marcus could feel the initial tension easing. The students seemed more relaxed and genuinely interested in what he had to say. "Thank you all for your questions," he said, wrapping up the QA session. "I look forward to getting to know each of you better and learning about your worlds. If anyone wants to see pictures of Earth or learn more about anything specific, feel free to come talk to me anytime." With that, he stepped back from the podium and nodded to the principal, who stepped forward to dismiss the assembly. Marcus felt a sense of accomplishment and relief. Despite the rough start, he had managed to connect with his new classmates. As the students filed out of the auditorium, a few lingered behind to speak with him. Marcus found himself surrounded by a small group of curious students, all eager to learn more about the human from Earth. He knew it would take time to build trust and friendships, but he was ready for the challenge. One of the students, the small bird-like creature who had asked the first question, approached him with a shy smile. "Thank you for answering our questions. I'm Kira. I think it's really cool that you're here." Marcus smiled warmly. "Thanks, Kira. I'm glad to be here. Let's make this a great learning experience for all of us." As he continued to talk with the students, Marcus felt a renewed sense of optimism. This was just the beginning of his journey, and he was determined to make the most of it. "Then sorry," Marcus said with a shrug. "So you really eat poison?" the giant hamster asked again, intrigued. "Well, not, because it is poisonous most of the time anyway. It's just that many plants and some small animals have evolved to be poisonous to be less of a target that hasn't stopped us," he explained. The next question came from someone further away, a golden silhouette with a humanoid form that made it difficult to see detailed features. How do you hunt the silence after this question was palpable, while Marcus thought about the best way to answer. "Well, assuming you mean primitive humans, there are two unique characteristics of our species. First, we have no fur exoskeleton or any real external protection," he explained, pinching his arm to demonstrate the elasticity of his skin. "But thanks to that, we can sweat through our skin. Sweat is a secretion used to regulate temperature and replenish stamina, which effectively means we can keep going for very long periods of time if we pace ourselves." He was cautious about how the rest of his explanation would affect the audience. Noticing that some of them were getting up and quietly leaving the room, he waited a moment before continuing. "As I said, humans are not very fast. In fact, most species on Earth can run much faster than humans, but they can't keep it up for long. So what we used to do was chase something until it couldn't run, fight, or just keep up with its pack, and then finish it off with a rock or something, and bring it back to the rest of the group." The people looked mortified. He was pretty sure someone was sick, because he heard what sounded like a cat vomiting. "Are there any animals that can run longer than humans?" asked the same golden silhouette. "No," he said confidently, though unsure, and continued. "The other thing that has worked in our favor is that because of our longer legs and shorter arms, our sense of balance is superior to most other species, including the other great apes. This means that we can throw things harder, faster, and more accurately than almost any other species. So when we made spears, that was pretty much it. After that, it became a question of how far and how hard we could throw things. Oh, I almost forgot. Humans like to form groups and storytelling ice and commonplace in every human culture. Apparently we learn better when it's in the form of stories, but I can only speak from personal experience. So when our ancestors hunted, they told stories about what animals they hunted and how they hunted them, and they were heroes for doing so. To this day, we have pictures of their exploits because they painted their world in the caves where they lived. Yeah, that's it. Talk about art and stories. Maybe they won't care. You just told them you can hit very hard from very far away and nothing can escape you. Yeah, that makes sense. After a few seconds of silence, he concluded that either no one had any questions or people just weren't. Expecting this answer from the looks of it, he would bet on the latter. But it didn't matter anymore. He was tired, he was hungry, and most of all, he wanted to see how high he could jump in such low gravity. He hadn't had a moment alone since he arrived. Well, I want to thank everyone for their attention. This has been a literal dream come true in many ways, and I'm looking forward to meeting all of you. And I'm sorry again. He glanced at the director, who looked very lilac today, as opposed to her usual auburn purple. Marcus was worried for a moment, but then she got up and started walking toward the stage at an uneven pace. Her anatomy was completely confusing too. Marcus, all the context Earth animals had given him was useless in the galaxy at large, but the principal looked extremely alien. She had many tentacles, so many that counting them would require a rude stare. Her skin looked very wet, even though it wasn't, and the fact that she walked very dexterously on land while looking so much like a sea creature was truly bizarre to him. He shook her tentacle hand again and took a step back, trying to appear stoic and attentive, though in truth his mind was elsewhere, thinking about hamburgers. To be exact, would they have them here? Could he improvise one? Maybe he should learn to make bread. Okay, let's think of something else. I'm getting hungrier, he thought to himself. Scanning the room again, he began to pay more attention to the individuals. The large reptile had a small sail on the back of its head and probably all over its back, though he couldn't see that at the moment. He noticed a couple of bird species, one of which had plumage that resembled pearlescent car paint, and of course there was the golden figure. They were far apart. He couldn't see their eyes, but he felt like he was being watched intensely, more than just the general curiosity of the crowd, which made him wonder, is it a predator perhaps trying to decide if attacking me is a good idea? Maybe. Or maybe they just want to be friends. I just got here. But the herbivores seemed very scared as applause began, or gestures resembling applause, given the variety of anatomies in the room. People began to leave. Some tried to glance at him discreetly, others stared openly, and nearly all were talking in ensemble that quickly escalated beyond mere murmuring. Strangely, the golden one was nowhere to be seen, a conspicuous absence given the stark white walls and the fact that no one else in the room bore any resemblance to her. Are you ready? Asked the soft voice of the director, who had waited patiently for him while looked around. Oh yes, I'm sorry. Ready for what exactly? Marcus replied, relieved to see her return to her usual deeper shade. Your accommodation should be ready by now, given the information your government provided about the effects of low gravity on your species. Some adjustments had to be made, she explained. Cool personal jai, he thought with a hint of excitement. Thank you, ma. And low gravity can really mess us up, he admitted it. Indeed, the giant octopus agreed, her tentacles moving gently in what Marcus interpreted as a nod. They walked in silence for a while, navigating through a series of corridors. Every now and then, the director would stop to point out a room and give a brief explanation of its purpose. Marcus was particularly intrigued by the reactor, curious why a school would need such a powerful power source, and the engineering lab, which was secured by large reinforced doors, signs of serious research and development, he thought. But the place he was most curious about was the cafeteria. They hadn't stopped at any of these places for now. It was about memorizing the route for a future exploration. Perhaps after a refreshing shower, after several turns, they finally reached his room. This room is yours. We have also provided you with some exercise equipment. In addition, there is a research station, a T-screen, and a personal and portable RNC, which I am told is similar to what you call a tablet on Earth. If you have any questions, it should be able to assist you. I'll leave you now for today. You must get everything in order, and tomorrow your training begins. Thank you, ma. I've been looking forward to this, Marcus replied, his voice tinged with a mixture of excitement and nervousness. And while we have faced many dangers and difficulties, it has taught us to be innovative and resourceful. We've developed technologies to explore the stars and to connect with each other across vast distances. We hope to share these advancements with the galaxy to contribute to a future where all species can thrive together. Marcus paused, then added, I know first impressions can be difficult, and I appreciate your patience and willingness to listen. I'm excited to learn more about your cultures and technologies and to build friendships that will help us all grow.